If you clicked this video because the headline shocked you, then listen closely, because in the next few minutes, you're going to hear things about Yu Menglong's final days that the public was never meant to know. You're going to discover the disturbing clues he left hidden in his eyes, the chilling confession his friend Julian Chen finally revealed, and why a wave of mass contract terminations is sweeping through the entertainment industry right now. And trust me, once you hear what connects all of these events to Yu Menglong's tragic fall on September 11th, you will never look at the Chinese entertainment world the same way again. Stick with me, because what you're about to learn changes everything. Yu Menglong's death on September 11th was reported as a fatal fall after excessive alcohol. A simple accident. A night gone wrong. A tragedy with no deeper meaning. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if the truth didn't lie in the fall, but in his eyes? Because days before his death, fans began noticing something in his photos, something subtle, something haunting, something no one could interpret until now. And once we put all the pieces together, the picture becomes almost too frightening to accept. It begins with the last public appearance Yu Menglong ever made. He was at a casual industry dinner, laughing, drinking, posing for photos, the usual. But when those pictures surfaced online the next morning, viewers pointed out something uncanny: his eyes. They looked empty yet alert, restless yet focused, as if they were trying to tell a story his mouth could no longer speak. Not sadness. Not exhaustion. No, it was something much more disturbing. A silent warning. A warning that someone finally decided to talk about. But before the world could understand it, Yu Menglong was gone. That fatal night, the alcohol, the balcony, the horrifying fall was only the final page of a story that started long before September 11th. And the people closest to him knew it. One of them was Julian Chen. Julian, a longtime friend and collaborator, stayed silent for weeks after the tragedy. Fans begged him to speak. Rumors spread like wildfire. Comment sections turned into crime boards. But Julian never said a word, until yesterday. And what he revealed didn't just shake fans. It sent shockwaves through the entire entertainment industry. Because apparently, Yu Menglong had been dealing with something so heavy, so dark, so politically dangerous within the industry that several artists are now preparing for something unthinkable: mass contract termination. But why? What were they afraid of? Who were they running from? To answer that, let's rewind to 1 week before Yu Menglong's passing. According to insiders, Yu Menglong had been acting strange. Not erratic, just careful. He avoided certain people. He cancelled private meetings at the last minute. He switched cars repeatedly. His manager said he had become hyper-aware, constantly checking who was watching him. The typically gentle, calm actor was suddenly alert, as if he sensed something coming. But no one knew why. Not until fans started re-examining his interviews, one clip in particular. In his last recorded interview, he was asked a simple question about future roles. He smiled. But his eyes, they moved to the side for a split second, narrowing with something almost like fear. He forced a laugh. His voice quivered. It was subtle enough to dismiss. But fans felt something was off. And now, with Julian Chen's revelation, everything suddenly makes sense. Julian finally broke his silence with a cryptic message. He tried to warn us. We didn't listen. That one statement threw social media into chaos. Because what exactly had Yu Menglong been trying to warn them about? According to sources close to both actors, Yu Menglong had discovered internal dealings, illegal contracts, manipulated earnings, artist exploitation, and suspicious financial movements that could destroy several agencies if exposed. He wasn't supposed to know. He wasn't supposed to see the documents. He found them by accident. And once he did, everything changed. His behavior. His eyes. His fear. He began confiding in only a handful of people. Julian Chen was on that list. Julian claimed Yu Menglong came to him shaking one night, telling him he'd seen something he couldn't unsee. Something that made him fear for multiple artists, not just himself. Something connected to a powerful, untouchable circle in the industry. Julian didn't understand the gravity of the situation until it was too late. This is where the story turns from tragic to terrifying. Because apparently, days after Yu Menglong's discovery, several artists quietly began contacting lawyers. They started reviewing their contracts, preparing exit plans, and asking trusted friends if they could disappear for a while. No one explained why. No one dared mention the reason publicly. But now we know. Yu Menglong had warned them. And his warning may have triggered a silent movement, one that the public is only now seeing hints of. Artists aren't just making changes. They're preparing for mass termination. They're ready to walk away. If this is true, Yu Menglong was carrying a weight so enormous that his final days were consumed by fear and pressure no one could fully understand. The drinking, the fatal fall, the strange behavior, it all lines up in a way that feels less like coincidence and more like a man desperately trying to escape something he could no longer handle. Now let's return to the most chilling part, the clues in his eyes. What exactly was everyone seeing? Photographers noted that in nearly every picture taken in the last 10 days of his life, Yu Menglong wasn't looking directly at the camera. Instead, his gaze drifted to the side, to the corner, to the shadows. As if he was aware of something, or someone, that the rest of us couldn't see. One fan described it perfectly. It looked like he was silently begging someone to pay attention. Another wrote, "It's like he knew something bad was coming and he couldn't talk about it." Julian Chen's confession confirms that Yu Menglong wanted to speak. He tried. He hinted. He warned. But something stopped him. And now, after his death, those warnings are resurfacing like puzzle pieces forming a terrifying picture. The agencies know it. The artists know it. And the public is beginning to sense it. Which brings us back to the night of September 11th. The official report says Yu Menglong had consumed a large amount of alcohol before the fatal accident. Many accepted it. Some questioned it. But think about it, if he was carrying something this heavy, if he felt trapped, cornered, powerless, and unable to reveal the truth, wouldn't the pressure break anyone? Witnesses said he wasn't partying or celebrating. He was drinking alone. Quiet. Withdrawn. Lost in thought. Minutes later, the fatal fall happened. The world cried. Friends collapsed in disbelief. Fans searched for answers. The industry tightened its grip on silence. But truth has a way of resurfacing. Julian's confession didn't just open old wounds, it exposed a fracture in the entertainment world that's been waiting to burst. And now the question is not whether Yu Menglong's death was an accident. The real question is, what was happening around him that made him look so haunted in his final days? Because one thing is certain, those eyes weren't empty. They were full of secrets. Secrets the industry never wanted anyone to know. And now, those secrets are pushing artists to make bold, terrifying decisions. Contracts are being reviewed. Agreements are collapsing. Agencies are panicking. The truth is finally cracking through the surface. It's no longer just about Yu Menglong's tragic death. It's about the storm he saw coming. And the warning he left behind. We are watching one of the biggest silent revolutions in entertainment unfold right before our eyes, and it all ties back to a young man who tried, in the only way he knew how, to signal danger. Through his words. Through his actions. And yes, through his eyes. And if what's happening today is the aftershock of his final discovery, then the story is far from over. Fans are demanding answers. Media outlets are digging deeper. Artists are choosing freedom over fear. Yu Menglong didn't get the chance to speak. But somehow, he still started a conversation that might change everything. Everyone kept talking about Yu Menglong's final moments, but very few people were prepared to confront the strange, chilling details buried in the last images of him that surfaced online. Because if you zoom into those photos, if you really examine his expression, something terrifying becomes clear. Not a man who was lost. Not a man who was broken. But a man who had already seen too much. And that's where today's continuation begins. After Yu Menglong's passing, fans flooded social media with tributes, but mixed inside those tributes was an eerie pattern, thousands of people highlighting the same subtle detail in his eyes. Many said the same thing in different words. It's like he was staring at something behind the camera. His smile didn't reach his eyes. He looked scared, like he knew a secret. He looked like someone who'd given up. But one fan said something that sparked a firestorm. His eyes were telling us to look deeper. And suddenly, everyone did. People began screenshotting, zooming, brightening, enhancing every single image Yu Menglong took in the last 2 weeks of his life. And the more they looked, the more disturbing the discovery became. His eyes weren't just tired. They weren't just sad. They were communicating something. Something urgent. Something he couldn't put into words. And this is where Julian Chen's role becomes impossible to ignore. Julian hadn't spoken for days after the tragedy. His silence became suspicious. Commenters attacked him. Fans begged him. The media hounded him. But he kept himself locked away not because he didn't care, but because he didn't know how to explain what he had witnessed. Until that one night when he finally broke down. A friend close to Julian revealed what happened behind closed doors. Julian had been rewatching an old video of him and Yu Menglong backstage. They were laughing, joking, teasing each other about who messed up their lines more. But when Julian paused the video at one particular frame, one single second, he froze. It was Yu Menglong looking straight into the camera, with the same expression he had in those final photos. And Julian whispered, "I saw it then. I just didn't understand." He played the video again. Paused. Played it again. Paused. And then he realized the look in Yu Menglong's eyes wasn't random. It was deliberate. It was consistent. It was the same silent message repeated over and over, long before anyone knew something was wrong. A message Julian had ignored. That's when he made his cryptic public statement. He tried to warn us. We didn't listen. But what did he mean? What exactly was Yu Menglong trying to warn them about? To answer that, you have to go back to the dinner event, the last time fans saw Yu Menglong alive in a candid, unfiltered setting. Witnesses remembered that he wasn't himself that night. His smile was polite, but his eyes kept darting around. He laughed at jokes, but his breathing was shallow. He posed for photos, but he kept glancing over his shoulder, as if watching for someone or something approaching. One fan caught a photo at the exact moment he let his guard down. In that photo, Menglong wasn't smiling. His face wasn't confident or charming. He looked terrified. It became the most circulated image after his death, not because it was the last one taken, but because people believed it captured the truth he'd been hiding. Now here's the even more unsettling part. When Julian Chen saw that photo, the very first time it leaked, he reportedly broke down crying. A staff member at the time said Julian kept repeating, "I should have pulled him out that night. I should have stopped him. I knew something was wrong with his eyes. I knew." But what exactly did he know? It turns out that Yu Menglong had confided in Julian days before the incident. Late at night, he sent Julian a message, a voice note that Julian, according to rumors, has refused to release to the public. But insiders who heard it described it as terrifying. Menglong's voice was shaky, breathless. He said, "I feel like someone is watching me. I don't know how to explain it, but every time I look around, I feel like I'm being tracked, not physically, but silently. Like someone is waiting for me to mess up. I keep seeing things in their eyes. I keep seeing it." Julian reportedly panicked and called him, asking, "What do you mean? Whose eyes?" And Menglong replied with something so cryptic it sent chills down Julian's spine. "You wouldn't believe me even if I told you." After that, Menglong became more distant, more withdrawn, more tense. He drank more. He slept less. He avoided meetings. And he kept staring at mirrors, trying to understand something none of us could see. It was only after his death that fans noticed he had been posting odd captions too. One post in particular went viral after his passing. He wrote, "It's always the eyes that reveal the truth." At the time, nobody paid attention. Now, it feels like a final clue. A clue we missed. Which brings us to the most disturbing scene of all, the last video of Yu Menglong walking into his apartment building on September 11th. The CCTV footage showed him stepping out of the elevator, stumbling slightly because of the alcohol, but not out of control. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't violently drunk. He looked anxious. And then, something strange happens. He stops. He looks to his left, at nothing. He looks to his right again, Nothing visible. And then he does the thing that fans now call the final signal. He lifts his head, stares straight into the elevator camera, and his eyes widen. Not from fear. Not from confusion. But from realization. It's as if he saw something or understood something in that very moment. Seconds later, he walks out of frame. Minutes later, the fatal fall occurs. Experts said it was accidental. A tragic misstep. A result of drinking too much. But those who re-watched the footage didn't see clumsiness. They didn't see recklessness. They saw a man who feared something we don't have a name for yet. Now, with Julian Chen speaking up, the theory that Yu Menglong had discovered something dangerous is growing stronger than ever. The eyes don't lie. Not his. Not Julian's when he talks about him. Julian said in a private conversation leaked by someone close to him. His eyes were begging me to understand. I didn't. And now I can't forgive myself. And maybe that's why Julian finally decided to break his silence, because he realized the world needed to know what Yu Menglong had been trying to communicate all along. Not through words. Not through interviews. But through the only thing he felt safe using. His eyes. Those eyes were not a coincidence. They were not exhaustion. They were warnings. Warnings that the people around him missed. Warnings that the industry ignored. Warnings that fans are only now waking up to. And maybe, just maybe, those warnings are the reason why multiple artists are suddenly reviewing their contracts, distancing themselves from agencies, and preparing for something big behind the scenes. Because Yu Menglong may be gone. But the truth he saw is still very much alive. And the people he warned, they're finally listening. If you enjoyed this gripping continuation, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps boost the video and reach more people. Now let me know in the comments. What do you think Yu Menglong was trying to tell us through his eyes? Do you believe Julian truly knows more than his saying? And what do you think Menglong realized in the elevator before the fall? Drop your thoughts, I'm reading every single one.